So in this video, I'm going to go through some probability calculations based on a normal distribution, and I'm going to do this using Excel this time. If you want to do these calculations using a manual method, please go back and see the previous video. So these were the answers that we got from the previous video that I'm going to try and verify. So we have a population of people with an average height of 170, so that's the mean, and standard deviation of 10 centimeters. So that's what we're going to set mu and sigma to. And what we need to do is calculate the probability that first a randomly selected person will be between 170 and 180 centimeters tall. So this is the graph that we can construct, and if we're going to do this in Excel, we actually don't need to go to the effort of converting it into a z-score. Excel can kind of automatically do that for us. So all we need to know is kind of how the Excel function that we're about to use works. And it's called norm.dist. So let me just quickly give you a bit of background on it. So what it's going to ask you is for an X value, okay, no matter what you pick, say you pick here, and then it's going to calculate for you the cumulative probability of basically everything beforehand. So the area under the curve up until that X cutoff point that you give it, right? So no matter where it is, it's going to calculate the probability of everything that happens before it. So let's go ahead and use this for this first example. So what we're going to need to do when we use the function is calculate the probability, all right, all the way up until 180, which is going to include all of this. All right, but obviously we don't want all of that. We only want the blue section that I highlighted because that's the zone between 170 and 180. So what we need to do is once we've calculated this green thing, which is going to be using this method here, we're then going to need to do it for 170, and that's going to give us this red bit that I've drawn in. So the difference between the green and the red is the blue bit that we actually want. So let's go ahead and do it. Excel. So that I don't need to type this over and over again, I'm just going to put in the mean here and the standard deviation. Alright, so for this first calculation, again, the one we're using in Excel is called norm.dist. So we need to give it the X value we're interested in, and we said the first one that we wanted was 180. So mean and standard deviation we can give there. And then we need to make sure we pick the cumulative one. So that's going to add up all the probability up until our cutoff point of, in this case, 180. All right, so that gives us the probability that we are between all the way down here at the bottom up until 180. So now we just need to figure out this red bit, and the difference is what gives us this remaining blue bit. So I'm going to tack it on the end, so minus, again the same function, but this time we want to pick 170 as our cutoff. The mean remains 170, standard deviation is 10, and again we need to make sure this is true, so it does it cumulative. Hit enter, so it gives it to us as 0.34, which of course is about 34% when we convert it into a percentage, and that's exactly what we had up here. From when we did this using manual methods. So that's excellent. So let's move on to the next one, which is what is the probability that someone's between 175 and 185 centimeters tall? We can pretty much follow exactly the same method as what we've just done for the previous question. So again, if we draw our cutoff at the 185 here, all right, it's going to calculate for us using that function probability of everything up until this point. And then if we take away then the probability of what happens up until the cutoff of 175, it's going to leave us with this blue highlighted section. So let's go and do that. So equals our function. So 185 was the upper one this time. The mean and standard deviation we've got, and we want it to be true, minus norm.dist. This time our lower one was 175. Again, mean and standard deviation are the same. So it gives us 0.24, which is about 24% when you convert it to a percentage. And again, that's what we got from using manual methods, which is good. So now we just have the last one, which is less than 140 centimeters. So if we go have a look at this diagram, all right, this one's the easy one because we've got this cutoff of 140, and we know that Excel is going to calculate the probability of everything up until that point. So basically, we just need to put in 140 as our cutoff. So let's do this last one. Equals norm dist. So 140. Again, select our mean and standard deviations. And true. So this one gets 0.00135. And if we look back at what we got using the manual method, right, it was about the same as well. The only difference here is going to be some small rounding. So that's all there is for this question in terms of verifying our answers using Excel. Just remember that that is always an option to you. Using multiple methods to check your answers is always a good thing because you can, prove to yourself that you're on the right track and got the same thing. So that's all there is for this video, and I'll see you in another one.